After 18 incredible months of living in Korea, we're back in the United States celebrating the holidays with family. Today, one of the things we want to highlight is reverse culture shock. We just want to talk about a couple of the things that we have experienced since getting back, because some of the things that we didn't think twice about before leaving, coming back, it's kind of been a little eye-opening. Yeah, and so just to define what we're talking about, so culture shock is any confusion, anxiety, or a lack of understanding of a culture that you're going to. So reverse culture shock is that culture shock that you receive or recognize when you go back to your home country.
The reverse culture shock is real. And here we're going to highlight some of the things that we have experienced. We're not comparing cultures, we're not judging. It's just, it's real. I mean, there's things that you don't think about and then it hits you right on the face.
So we're going to talk about a few of the things that we recognize, but we're super interested in the reverse culture shock that you experienced after coming back from an extended stay overseas. So if you would, just put your comments down below so we can hear what your thoughts are on this topic. Okay, so when we moved back to the States, one of the first trips to the grocery store was an absolute shock. We were used to going to the market and being able to pick up like small things like tofu and banchan, which are side dishes, for pennies on the dollar.
And let's just not talk about eating out. When we're in Korea, Korean barbecue, it will be about $10 to $15 each for a lot of food. And here, if you want Korean barbecue, if you're lucky to find it, it will be about $25 to $40 per person. And that's not including the tip and the tax, which tip is non-existent in Korea.
We took the liberty of comparing a few basic staples or like items. We found that eggs, dessert cakes, and fast food are cheaper in Korea, whereas milk and strawberries are cheaper in the United States. In fact, in Korea, strawberries are twice the price of strawberries in the United States, and U.S. milk is about $1 cheaper for a half gallon. However, Koreans do maintain a stricter standard for chemical use for produce and dairy products than that in the United States. Fast food is substantially cheaper in Korea, where a meal at a Korean fast food restaurant will cost between $5 to $7. In the United States, it will cost between 10 and 15 US dollars. So we just came back from the market. So today we got two things of prepared fried chicken. So it's already cooked. All we have to do is warm this up. We got some kimchi, and we got some banchan, which are like vinegar radish that we'll have with our meal. And then we got 1 kilogram of carrots, and then we got some lettuce wraps, which we will prepare some meat and then use the lettuce for the wraps, and put a little bit of the radish and some of the kimchi on it and roll it up and eat it. We also got 3 English cucumbers. All total, this was $28 from the market. So depending on where you're at, this may be a bargain, it may not be a bargain, but for us, this is probably about three meals worth of food here.
Being back in the States, we realized the value of the money is different from culture or from country to country. In the United States, you get the big steak, a big portion, less well-balanced meals, where in Korea, they're really small, but you have a lot of small side dishes. So coming back, it has made us rethink how we're going to budget for our money. Even though we missed the $3 meals with the kimbap and other snacks that we can pick up in the convenience stores, we really love the convenience of being able to go and get avocados and berries that are rare or non-existent in Korea.
We're at a local bakery, so we got 2 pastries and two coffees, and the total for all of it is $10. So that kind of shows you the value of the money. But one of the other things about coming to a Korean bakery is that the pastries aren't as sweet as they are in the States. So I've got it was a melon cream bread.
And this one has the chocolate with the almonds, and you would think this will be super sweet. So when you try the chocolate, it's not as sweet as in the States.
Yeah, the sweets in the States is just like super overpowering, very indulgent. And sometimes you like that, but for me, I've grown accustomed to the Korean bakeries where the sweets aren't as sweet. So when I go to the States and have a bread or a pastry, it's just like very overpowering and almost to the point that it makes your teeth hurt. It's so sweet.
And also, just to mention the $10 for the coffee and the breads. This is a caramel macchiato and this is a vanilla latte. So it's just not black coffee. It's something that it would be a lot more expensive in the States.
Each one of the coffees would have been $10 in the States.
I would say the texture of the bread is different too. And I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know, kind of more, for me it's more fluffy. The melon cream on the inside almost has like a banana taste to it. But it's not like, it's just not sweet. I mean, there's a sweetness to it, but just not where it's like, you feel like you need to go to a dentist afterwards because it's so sweet and it's gonna give you plenty of cavities.
And even the coffee is the vanilla latte. It has some sweet on it, but it's not overpowering. It's something to the point that when we were in the States, I would always get a white chocolate mocha at Starbucks. Now I can't. It's just way too sweet for me. I got used to the Korean coffee.
Our first meal back in the United States, and we get the bill. First is the shock of how expensive it is, and then we realized that we have to tip. And coming back from Korea, there's no mental math. We don't tip in Korea, so that was a culture shock.
Yeah, and it's not just at the restaurants, it's everywhere. I mean, you have to tip the Uber drivers, you have to tip at hotels. It's expected that you tip. Yeah, and it's just so much nicer when you're in Korea and you don't have to tip. I completely understand that the livelihood of the service workers in the United States depend on those tips. And in Korea, it's based more on the professionalism of providing good service. Not judging, not comparing. It's just a difference that you have to understand when you're living overseas, especially in Korea. The expectation is that you don't tip, whereas in the United States, the service workers are paid for by those tips. So it's just a cultural norm that you have to get used to when you're traveling. So definitely, if you're going to travel overseas, you need to understand what those norms are going into it, so that you don't look ignorant of the custom when you get there.
It's so hard when you cannot communicate with someone and that person really wants to talk to you because they have so many questions, but the language barrier is real. And then you come back here to the States and people are walking, especially in the South, and they're like, hello, how are you? And you just turn around like, you're talking to me?
Yeah, it's really great being able to have meaningful conversations with people. Whereas in Korea, we really want to have those conversations, but our Hangul skills are, doesn't go far beyond just the very common phrases like hello, thank you,
Yes.
I would like another beer. So that's about the extent of our Korean. Yeah, being able to come back to the United States and have meaningful conversations with our servers, waiters, being able to ask what's actually on the plate, and being able to get a little more picky because we can actually communicate has been phenomenal. And there's even the other things like being able to talk to the cashier who's checking you out at the grocery store. So again, it's just a difference. Shame on us for not knowing more Korean after living there for 18 months. But again, it's just one of those cultural differences, and one of the things we love about being in the United States. The other difference that we noticed right away was the lack of trash on the streets in the United States and the manicured lawns and grassy areas along the sides of the road. I can only contribute the trash issue in Korea to how trash is collected, where it's placed on the curb for pickup, which could be blown around in high winds. Also, the U.S. has an abundance of trash cans in public areas, which is not the case in Korea. Lastly, the other shock for us was the availability of public transportation and walkable space in the United States. We enjoy the availability of public transportation in Korea. Even in small towns, taxis and buses are easy to find. The train system, subway, and bus systems are easy to use even for those that don't speak the Korean language. Whereas in the United States, particularly outside large cities, public transportation is extremely limited to non-existent. We really hope that you enjoyed this video and let us know what differences you noticed upon returning to your home country after an extended stay away.